The situation in Australia, already in a state of emergency, is getting more dire tonight. The raging wildfires have reached the outskirts of Sydney. 100,000 homes in Sydney, Australia's largest city, are under threat tonight. Conditions have taken a catastrophic turn and are expected to cause fires in the city's suburbs to flare. There has been no rain and the hot winds are intense. The fires are the worst in Australia since 2009, when 173 people died. Climate change is a factor in making the fire season there start earlier and last longer. And as Eric Sorensen reports, people are demanding political action.
Fire season has come early and hot to Australia. For the first time since fire ratings were introduced, conditions in some areas have been deemed catastrophic. The first priority, saving lives and property.
We had just took off in panic, and all these amazing fire people saved my house.
But as conditions get worse, every year it seems, frustration is also boiling hot over a government seen as unambitious on global warming. Conservative Prime Minister Scott Morrison has consoled Australians, but declined to say whether fires are brought on by climate change.
I've got to tell you, as a Prime Minister, I'm never more proud of Australians than in moments like this.
But many Australians want more than comforting words.
We have a Prime Minister and a Premier in denial about climate change. This is real. We must declare a climate emergency. You cannot leave it any longer.
The fire season in Australia is getting longer, and the fires are multiplying in the last 72 hours, more in the last 48 hours, and still more in the last 24 hours. It's not a one-time extreme. In southeast Australia, rainfall April to October has declined 11% since the 1990s. And look at the warming trend over the last 100 years. Temperatures have climbed in recent decades consistently above the norm. Overall, a 1 degree Celsius increase in the last century in Australia. The science leaves no doubt what's happening.
There has been a long-term increase in extreme fire weather, and climate change, including increasing temperatures, is contributing to these changes.
A new climate report labels South Korea, Canada, and Australia as the G20 countries furthest off their climate commitments. Canada does get marks for its carbon tax. Australia is singled out with no explicit carbon pricing scheme. One local mayor wants Aussie leaders to embrace the science.
It's not a political thing, it's a scientific fact. To deny climate change is, to me, a very ill-informed and uneducated way of looking at things.
Officials say fighting the fires will take weeks. Taming the climate could take years. Eric Sorensen, Global News.
The bushfires are having a devastating impact on Australian wildlife, including koalas. More than 350 koalas were killed near the town of Port Macquarie as they tried to escape the towering flames. There's a huge effort to save the vulnerable species. 16 koalas have been rescued. Some suffered burns to 90% of their bodies, including their front and hind paws. They're now being fed fresh eucalyptus leaves and given fluids to help them heal. But this is a huge hit to the population. The Australian Koala Foundation estimates there are fewer than 43,000 koalas left in the wild.